it's Keely here for Soy and Shea. Thank you so much for joining me for another soap making video. Today I am making mint slice. I got this fragrance oil in from off of Ilux and oh my goodness, it smelled so good in the bottle, and I was really hoping that this fragrance oil was going to behave. So on one of those really rare occasions, I actually did do a little tester. I did a little 30-gram soap, and just to double check whether or not it discolored. It does go a very slight tan color in the white soap, so with all the colorants I've added in, it should just kind of enhance those colors as it ages. But if you come over onto Instagram when this soap is ready, I will be posting cured pictures of this soap. But for now, let's go and see how I make mint slice. Let's go. Okay, let's get stuck into making this soap. I'm going to be making this soap actually look like a piece of mint slice. We're going to be doing a few layers, but I am going to start by mixing all of my lye and oils together rather than splitting it up for the individual ones. So let's get started. We'll pour this together, bring it just together so I do have plenty of work time. So that is enough there. For my first layer, let's grab this pot here. I have got a little combination of colors. I have got some latte mica with some titanium dioxide, and I have also got some cocoa powder in there as well. I'm gonna pour off about that much. We're gonna make a nice crust on the bottom of our little mint slice here. So let's get this one mixed up. So I'm going to pretend that our mint slice has been made with chocolate biscuits on the bottom rather than those sort of golden colour pastry, just so we get that really beautiful colour. The fragrance I've got is mint slice from off of Ilux, and this one just smells so good. You've got that real minty smell to it and just a hint of the chocolate through there as well. I did actually do a tester of this fragrance because I wanted to see how it discoloured, and it only goes into a very light tan. It's hardly worth worrying about. If you added some titanium dioxide in with it, this oil, you would be able to make a white mint slice if you wanted to, but it does smell really good, and it has held in my little test piece. My test piece is about two and a half weeks old now, and I'm really happy with it so far, and it does actually play quite nicely in the soap as well. So that is all mixed in. Let's grab our mold here. Alright, so here's my mold. I do want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has been leaving suggestions on the bottom of the video I did where I first used these molds. The issue I actually found was that the new cutter that I got, Ida, although I've ordered it as a 2.5 centimeter distance on all my wires, it never really occurred to me to measure the size of the wires before actually using it for the first time. You know, it is handmade, so there are bound to be some slight variations, and what I discovered is as I went back through my cutter, I measured where all the wires were. Some were at 2.4, some are at 2.5, some are 2.7, 2.8. So that really does make a massive difference as you started to move along as they were out of alignment. So what I did is I made myself a little template with a piece of wood, and I put that up against where the wires were, transferred the wire marks onto that piece of wood, and then I've used that piece of wood to now actually put all the lining marks on my cutter. And at this end I have some extra little marks, and that's just to let me know that when I put the soap into the cutter, to make sure that it lines up with the lines, this is the end that needs to go at this end of the cutter. So since doing that, I have not had too many other issues. So I'm just going to need to let that one set up a little bit. So we'll start splitting off these colors. In this pot here, I have how I make my favorite brown color. I have got some cocoa powder in here. I have got some chocolate Mediterranean clay, and I've got just a little bit of mocha mica, which really helps to kind of boost the clay color in here. I don't need a lot because we're literally going to use this as kind of like the chocolate covering on top of our slice. Might just pour off just a tiny bit more, like so, and we'll leave that one over to one side. I have in this one, I've got elusive green to make a really nice dark drop into our main soap. Into this main bucket I am going to put in some jade mica just to get a really nice light green, so we won't go too heavy-handed, just enough to kind of combat the slight darkening that I do get, but I still want a nice pale minty green. So let's get these colours mixed in. Scrape down my bucket so we can make sure we've got all of the white or uncoloured soap butter in our green here. And then what I'm going to do is pour in a bit into my dark green, pour most of it in here, leave some back for that brown, give it a mix in, and then once this is set up a bit more, I'm going to pour this green in there with a bit of a drop of that darker green. Alright, so hopefully I'm not being too impatient here, but I really don't want to lose my pour time either. So now I'm going to just use my spatula just to break the fall, which I don't think has really worked. Definitely hasn't worked. Alright, I'm going to have to be a little bit more patient. Alright, so this one actually is taking a while to set up. So because this darker green is thickening, I've just decided to do a drop swirl into the lighter green, because that green, the light green's actually staying quite nice and fluid. So always be prepared to change your design halfway through if you need to. Alright, I'm going to give this another go. That's better. You can see it's now sitting on the top. Just go nice and gentle. So we've got our green in. Wasn't quite the design. I was going to go for that sort of green with then a low drop swell to look like we had those really dark mint chips thrown in there. But you know, that's still going to work, and it is nice and thick now, so I can actually do the top of this. So let's pour the rest of that fragrance in. I'm going to give it a quick mix here. Always love the colour that this sort of combination comes up with. Just looks like a really nice dark chocolate. So let's get this poured across the top. So we have got that on the top. That looks so mouth-watering. Now what I did when I was mixing up my colours, I saved a bit of that elusive in the oil, and all I'm going to do is kind of just drop it across the top here, and then I'm going to blend it in just to make a bit of a decorative top. But this is just going to be a very, very simple soap design. Let's bring you down instead, because that's still really fluid. So it's a really, really simple top on there. It's really super glossy and shiny. Smells absolutely wonderful. That mint is starting to really pop on through on here, and after it goes through its cure, the chocolate sort of tones really start to come out as well. It's going to leave this one sit for about 24 to 48 hours, and then we'll be back to unmold and cut it open. We are ready to cut into mint slice, and how awesome does that look? I am so super pleased with just how the outside of this looks. After I made this one, my mum actually came round in the afternoon and she saw this one sitting on my side and she said, oh, that looks like chocolate ganache on the top, because it just was so shiny and beautiful. And it's like, oh good, because that's exactly what it's meant to look like. So I was really quite pleased that I have managed to get the look that I was after, at least on the top here. And I love all of that mica oil drizzle on the top. That green really did pop. We are thunk through the cutter here, so let's grab this one out of the middle if it will let me have it. So there is the top, so you can see that that mica drizzle there. Oh, and that is the inside. That looks super yummy. I've got a piece of soap stuck to the bottom of this from the one I've just cut. I'll get that off later. But that is looking absolutely delicious. I love how that green has swirled on through the middle. It just looks like a really good piece of chocolate mint slice. And it does smell like that too. You do get that sort of note of chocolate coming through with the bit of mint. Now if you are using this fragrance from off of Ilux, it does fade at first, but it does come back. I've got a piece that's been curing, like a little test piece to see what color it was going to go. It's been sitting there for about 3 weeks now, and the smell on it, you can smell that mint slice in there. So it does come back. I am in love with this one. Really like how that green's to come together. As I said in the video, I was hoping to do like a little drop swirl to have those sort of like really dark mint, sort of fake pieces of mint that you get in some of your lollies and things like that. But I'm really pleased I changed that to an in the pot swirl, because it's given such delicate wispy lines. Now what I am going to do, I'm going to work out which end, wasn't this end, looking for the end where I was a little bit impatient to see what's happened to my little bit of pie crust on the bottom. I bet we have got a huge dent, so it must be, yeah, there it is, down this end. Someone's taken a great big piece out of our crust, but hey, gotta like that mint filling a lot more than the actual crust. But we've got a nice thick one on that side. Love all these delicate swirls, and that colour on the top, it just looks like dark chocolate. So there was only a couple of bars that had this kind of real dip in it, but that is okay. I hope you have enjoyed watching how I made the mint slice soap. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. And until the next video comes out, I hope you have a great one, and I will see you then. Bye.